Welcome back to another episode of the What We're Watching podcast. I'm Megan.
And I'm Jeni, and today we're talking about She's the Man.
I love this movie so much.
This is the ultimate sleepover movie. I remember this is the one everyone would pick at the sleepover because it was like the fan favorite. It would make everyone happy.
Absolutely. So funny, so good. Yeah, just like so nostalgic for me. I loved it.
I forgot what a comedic actor Amanda Bynes was. And just her facial expressions in this were hilarious. She crushed any comedic role, but this one is probably her funniest movie.
I agree. I was dying laughing the entire time. Brad and I both were laughing the whole movie because she's so funny.
Did he watch it too?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
The logline for this movie is, when her brother decides to ditch for a couple weeks, Viola heads over to his elite boarding school disguised as him and proceeds to fall for his school's star soccer player and soon learns she's not the only one with romantic troubles. Another early 2000s classic.
Yeah, I think you guys have requested this one quite a bit, so I'm really glad that we are able to do it because I've been wanting to do this one since the beginning too.
Me too.
But we felt like it was more summer vibes, even though I think it's kind of more of a like back to school kind of movie.
To me, it's summer vibes. I don't know why.
Any 2000s movie that's outdoorsy or involves a sport, like whether it's cheerleading, like Bring It On, or anything like that, that is a summer movie to me.
Me too. I don't know why. It's just the aesthetics, I think.
Yeah. So this movie came out in 2006, and it was inspired by The Twelfth Night by William Shakespeare.
Huh?
You didn't know this?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Not She's the Man being based on Shakespeare.
Yes, it is. And I think they kept the character names the same too. And this was actually named the greatest Shakespeare adaptation since 10 Things I Hate About You, which we just talked about.
I'm shook by this news. But I love 10 Things I Hate About You, so I love this. I love that they have this in common. That's fun.
The funny thing about this is that both movies were written by our favorite screenwriting duo, Karen McCullough Lutz and Kirsten Smith.
Love.
So they wrote Legally Blonde, The House Bunny, Ella Enchanted, I think. They most recently have been credited with writing additional screenplay material for Inside Out 2.
I am so excited for Inside Out 2.
I wasn't excited about it, but you have been talking about it enough that I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I just needed someone else to hype it.
The teenage emotions move into the brain. I hope it's gonna be like funnier and lighter than the first one.
The first one makes me cry.
Yeah, it's too dark for me. I think I watched it once. It was one of those.
I think that's why I can't watch. I'm like, I don't know about the second one because the first one was just like heavy unexpectedly. Like the movie Up. I can't watch the movie Up, at least not the beginning.
Nope.
They filmed She's the Man in Vancouver, and the cast tried to stay together and hang out on the weekends. And I have this kind of funny story. They went to see Mr. and Mrs. Smith in theaters together one weekend, and they ended up seeing a Mountain Dew commercial before the movie on the big screen, and it featured Channing Tatum, who's in this movie.
Wow.
And he was with them in the audience, so everyone just started screaming and cheering for him. And I just think that's really cute. And it was probably one of the first times that he'd seen himself on the big screen too, because he wasn't a big actor at the time.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I just thought it was cute that the cast was all excited about it, hyping him up.
I love that. Yeah, I was looking him up while I was watching this to figure out if Step Up came first, because that's always what I thought was his first big movie role. But no, this movie came out like 6 months before. So I bet you're right. I think all he had done before this was a few commercials. So that probably was the first time he had ever seen himself on that big of a screen, which is so cool.
I love it. Yeah, and I think he had been in like one smaller movie.
Okay.
I don't even know if it was a smaller movie, but it's not one I had heard of. I love that he was like the leading man in this movie. This movie was directed by Andy Fickman, and this is so cute. When he first started dating his wife, Kristen, who he married in 2016, she told him that She's the Man was her favorite movie. And he said, I thought that was just a great pickup line. And then it was confirmed by her best friend that all they did was watch the movie and quote the lines to this day. She is so me.
That's incredible.
And then he said, every once in a while, someone will call me or there will be some She's the Man trivia and something will happen. And I'm thinking, wait, what was that line? And my wife will step out and be like, are you kidding me right now? Of course, this is actually how the line was said.
Oh,
I relate to her so hard. I love her.
I love that.
It's so cute. Should we talk about the cast?
Let's do it. Let's start with Amanda Bynes, who plays Viola.
I love her so much.
Me too. We actually talked a lot about her background and what she's up to now on the What a Girl Wants episode. So if you guys are interested in hearing more about Amanda Bynes just generally, we deep dive into her in that episode. And then in this episode, we're going to focus more on this movie specifically.
So she and the director observed guys at a shopping mall to prepare for this role.
I love that.
I love that too. It's so cute. Something I found a little sad was in interviews around this time, Amanda said that this role was really hard for her and it felt awkward, which I can imagine this was a challenging role. But in 2018, she admitted that she went into a deep depression for 4 to 6 months after seeing this movie because she didn't like how she looked as a boy.
Oh, that makes me really sad.
I know.
I'm sure that would be difficult to, have professional hair and makeup and not be in control of the way that you look, especially when they're dressing you up as a different gender for like months at work. That would be really hard.
Yeah. But on a lighter note, she and Channing Tatum played soccer for hours each day to train for the role. And there are actually a lot of parts where they did their own stunts in this movie.
Oh, I love that. I was wondering watching this if they both like had training or something because they both looked like they knew what they were doing, coming from not a soccer player.
Yeah. They had some cool like in the air kicks and stuff that was actually them.
Cool.
Because they needed to have their face in it. I thought that was neat.
That is really cool. Should we talk about Channing Tatum, who plays Duke?
I cannot believe we haven't talked about him on this podcast before.
I know. I love him.
I do too. He's from everything. He's from Magic Mike, Step Up, Dear John, The Vow, 21 Jump Street, The Lost City more recently.
So many things.
And like we said earlier, She's the Man was really his breakout role. He was 26 when they filmed it, playing a high schooler. This was like the age too, like the era where mid-20s people were playing high schoolers on TV.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Which is probably why I always thought high school was so old when I was in middle school.
Definitely. Although I read that he actually almost didn't get the role because they were afraid that he was going to look too old.
Yeah, and Amanda actually insisted that he be cast because she said he'd be really well received by audiences. AKA, she was like, he's hot, guys. You gotta cast him.
And she was right.
She said, I totally fought for Channing to get cast in that movie because he wasn't famous yet. He'd just done a Mountain Dew commercial, and I was like, this guy's a star. Every girl will love him. But the producers were like, he's so much older than all of you. And I was like, it doesn't matter. Trust me.
I love that. Oh, I love that. Because this was his first big movie. I love that Amanda would like go to bat for him, even if it was just because she thought he was hot. I think that's cool.
So she, kind of is the reason for his career taking off, at least in the way that it did. I don't mean that he wouldn't have gotten Step Up if he didn't get this role, but I'm sure it helped. Also, did you know that he and Zoe Kravitz are engaged?
Yes, I did know that.
How did I not know that?
I don't know. They've been together for a while.
They're such a good-looking couple, but they are in 2 different universes of movies in my head.
True.
So I was like, oh, you know each other?
Yeah, it is kind of wild to see the pictures of them together, but they weirdly fit perfectly. I don't know. I like it. I'm here for it.
It's so cute.
And he used to be married to Jenna Dewan Tatum, who was his co-star in Step Up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I did know that.
So they met on that movie and got married. I think they have a kid, or maybe 2, or maybe none. I don't actually know that for sure, but for some reason I feel like they have kids. And then they got divorced, and everybody, like, the internet melted down that they got divorced because, like, she goes by Jenna Dewan Tatum now. So it's very almost like a Hailey Bieber situation where like she adopted his name, which not a lot of couples in Hollywood do. They were like very tied together, and then they got divorced, and now he's with Zoe Kravitz.
I could imagine that being heartbreaking for fans. Wait, I'm getting this image in my head. Did they do that lip syncing show together?
I don't know, actually.
Anyway, we love him. We love Channing Tatum.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to do Magic Mike or something one of these days and Step Up.
I would love that.
And we're going to kind of skip the rest of the cast right now. Some people will bring up, but a lot of them I haven't really seen since then and don't really have much to add. But I do have a fun cast fact, and it's that they originally wanted Jesse McCartney to play the real Sebastian, so Amanda Bynes' brother in the movie.
Interesting.
Because they thought that they had similar features. Somehow, when they were thinking who could be Amanda Bynes' twin brother, they thought Jesse McCartney.
Interesting.
I don't see it.
I don't either, but I guess maybe if he had brown hair, I could see it. It is weird to me, though, that throughout this movie, it is so hard for people to tell the difference between Amanda Bynes dressed up as Sebastian and Sebastian, because they do not look alike to me.
I think maybe they needed to cast a boy who was like a little younger looking.
Yeah.
To be the brother, because Amanda Bynes obviously looks so young. And I think they even make that joke in the movie. But that's why in the movie they kind of like cover up his face with face paint and they try to like keep them away from anyone who would know the real Sebastian.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's interesting. But Jesse McCartney declined because he was busy, so they went with James Kirk to play Sebastian.
That is so funny. I cannot believe that Jesse McCartney would have been in this movie. I think it works better that they had a lesser known actor. I think people would have been so tied up in the fact that it was Jesse McCartney that they really would not have been able to see the resemblance.
No, you're so right. Also, Jesse McCartney has been on my mind lately because he's on tour right now, so I've been seeing all of the videos about it, and I've been listening to all his music again. So I highly recommend if anyone needs a nostalgic throwback to go listen to Beautiful Soul.
Oh, I used to love that song.
Me too.
Okay, should we get into the movie?
Let's do it.
So in the opening credits, Viola Hastings, played by Amanda Bynes, is playing soccer on the beach in a bikini and cut-off shorts, and she's just crushing it. And we see that she wins, and then she goes to kiss her boyfriend Justin, played by Robert Hoffman, and he says that she's better at soccer than half the guys on his team, which is important.
And then we cut to her high school, Cornwall Prep, and Viola and her soccer teammates find out that the school cut their soccer team because not enough girls signed up, and this means that colleges won't recruit them anymore because they're not playing soccer.
And so Viola and the girls tell the boys' soccer coach, played by Robert Torti, which I recognized him for some reason. I don't know what from.
Oh, I know what from.
Oh, what?
He is the dad in The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Wait, that's definitely it.
Yeah, I was like, he looks familiar. I looked him up. I went, wow, yes, he's the dad.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you looked him up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he plays the soccer coach at Cornwall Prep. And Viola and the other soccer girls go up to him and say that they want to try out for the boys' team. And he says that girls aren't as fast or strong as boys. It's a scientific fact. He sounds like such a dickhead when he says this.
Yeah.
And then Justin, Viola's boyfriend, who is also the team captain, comes up and he doesn't back her up. And he denies saying that she was better than half the guys on the team. And he says, end of discussion. And she says, fine, end of relationship.
Love that for her.
Just as we're recapping this, it kind of reminds me in Stranger Things when Max is talking to 11 and is like, just dump his ass. And then 11's like, I dump your ass.
Cute. Oh my gosh. When Viola is walking home, a girl gets out of her car yelling, Sebastian. And then she runs up to her and says, ew, it's you. And says Viola and her twin brother look scarily alike from the back. And this is Monique, Sebastian's girlfriend. And she tells Viola to have Sebastian call her if he wants to stay in her life. And Viola says, okay, does he have your number? 1-800-BIATCH? Which is like one of my favorite lines in the whole movie.
I know. And then when Viola gets home, her mom shows her, first of all, her mom in this movie is fucking hilarious. Like, she's so space cadet, fluttery mom. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I don't even know how to describe it if you haven't seen it in a while. She's just hilarious. And so when Viola gets home, her mom shows her a surprise debutante dress, even though Viola has told her mom a million times that she does not want to be a debutante. Viola tells her mom about her bad day and the fact that the soccer team was cut. And her mom is very excited, obviously, because this means that her schedule will be free to do the debutante thing. And it's just funny how she says it like she's so one-track minded.
The debutante storyline, I don't know why, but I was getting it mixed up with What a Girl Wants a little bit, because in that one she's wearing like this big white kind of poofy dress, and so I was expecting that in this movie, and then that never happened, and I was like, wait a second.
No, that's true. I think they are debutantes in both. I think it's the same thing, because it's like in What a Girl Wants, it's like Amanda Bynes is coming out, which is what a debutante is.
Oh, you're right. She is. Okay, That's right. And then we meet Sebastian, who is supposed to go off to his new boarding school, Illyria, in 2 days. But he tells Viola that the beauty of having divorced parents is that he's going to lie to them and ditch school to go to London for 2 weeks with his band. And he leaves out the window because their mom thinks he's at their dad's, and he asks Viola to cover for him.
And then Viola's mom walks in and tries to convince her again to become a debutante with all her free time now that the soccer team is canceled. And Viola says sorry because she has a strict no ruffles policy. And her mom says, sometimes I just think you might as well be your brother. And this is the light bulb moment for Viola. She says, if you can't join him, beat him.
Viola convinces her stylist friend, Paul, to transform her into her brother since no one at Illyria has met Sebastian. And we get the opposite of the classic Y2K makeover montage Viola tries on mustaches. She copies men's walks on the street, which that scene is hilarious. And then she packs her bag and remembers to bring her tampons, which is very important. Jinx.
So then Viola tells her mom that she's going to her dad's for 2 weeks, and she says she's going to learn how to be a debutante from Sebastian's girlfriend, Monique. This obviously erases any suspicion that her mom would have had because she's so excited by the idea that Viola is interested in being a debutante. So it's a genius move. And then Viola arrives at Illyria transformed into her brother. And she's wearing the school uniform. She has her like short boy wig. As she's getting out of the car, a guy says hey to her, and she immediately gets back in the car with Paul, and she freaks out, and she's like, he knew, I want to go home.
This is me and my social anxiety all the time.
This is like what we were talking about when we were a lipstick.
Yeah.
Anytime I put on lipstick, I go outside, and I'm like, everyone knows.
They know I'm not a lipstick girl.
Yeah.
And they know this is my first time.
I look like a freak. I need to go home right now. And so then she and Paul have this screaming fight in the car, and finally he pushes her out of the car and makes her practice her deep voice and like do her strut, and then he makes her hawk a loogie, and then he says, remember, inside every girl there's a boy.
Viola notices every person who stares at her on campus, and she runs to find her dorm, but she's overwhelmed by all of the boy shenanigans that are happening in the halls, and she finally finds her room and meets her roommate, Duke, played by Channing Tatum, who is shirtless. And she acts like a spaz, and she forgets her deep voice, and she hugs him for a little too long. Duke's friends Andrew and Toby are over, and they ask her how old she is because she looks like she's supposed to be in the freshman dorms. And she says she skipped a couple grades.
This would be terrifying. If I walked into my room, I would be hoping to find no roommate, but to find my roommate who is Channing Tatum and all of his friends in there, I would be terrified.
I would be like, they all know.
Mm-hmm. Especially because then her tampons fell out of her bag while she's unpacking. And the guys are like, what? Why do you have those? And she says that she gets bad nosebleeds. And then she plugs her nose with tampons to stop the bleeding. And she demonstrates this for them, and they make fun of her, obviously.
I remember this being peak comedy at the time.
Absolutely.
Apparently her nostrils were too small for a tampon to fit, so they had to custom make her one that would fit up her nose.
That's really funny. I never caught that. I don't think I would ever notice. But I bet that's right. I bet you couldn't fit a normal tampon in your nose.
I don't think I could. Maybe. If I really tried.
Maybe we'll try and report back.
Maybe we won't.
At soccer tryouts for Illyria, the coach announces they'll play shirts and skins for the tryouts, and Viola insists that she has to be a shirt because she's allergic to the sun. And after the day, she gets second string and is obviously disappointed because she wanted to be first string so that she could play the game against Cornwall. And then the coach tells them to hit the showers, and Viola's like, the showers. And she just panics. But thankfully, the coach tells Viola, who is dressed up as Sebastian right now, that Principal Gold needs to see her right away.
So Principal Gold, who's played by David Cross, who's from Arrested Development, he's Tobias Funke. He's probably one of the most famous people besides Amanda and Channing in this movie.
He's also married to Amber Tamblyn from Sister to the Traveling Pants. She plays Tibby.
No, he's married to Tibby?
Mm-hmm, in real life.
Oh my gosh. Oh, we have to do the Sister to the Traveling Pants. So yes, Principal Gold comes in and says he wants to be an unofficial big brother for transfer students, and he says he'll pop in from time to time to check on Viola, aka Sebastian. Every time we mention Viola, we will tell you if she's actually herself, but just assume she's playing Sebastian. When Viola leaves the office, she runs into another student, Olivia, and Principal Gold makes a comment about them keeping it clean. And Viola compliments Olivia's shoes and asks where she got them, and then remembers she's supposed to be Sebastian and leaves.
Yeah. It's just cute shoes.
Oh, Anthropology.
Yeah, she's like, I didn't even know they make shoes. She's like, yeah, and accessories.
I love it.
And then at lunch, Viola finds out that Duke is the one who made her ex, Justin, cry once at a game. And then also during lunch, all of the boys notice Olivia, and we find out that Duke has a huge crush on her. But Olivia keeps looking back at Viola.
Viola has a dream that night that she has to play soccer with the boys in a big poofy dress, and that Justin and all the boys laugh at her. And she wakes up with water being poured on her, and she's taken away to be hazed with all the new soccer boys. And the older boys tell them they all have to take off their clothes, and Viola sneaks away to set the sprinklers off so that she doesn't have to, and so she's not found out.
Genius move.
Honestly, I'd be terrified.
Me too. I would be frozen.
I know, the fight, flight, or freeze. I'm freeze.
Oh, same. So the next day, Viola is like, the jig is up. Like, I have to go home. So she calls Paul, the hairdresser, to come get her. And she tells him that everyone thinks she's a geek loser deviant and she's not going to be on the field to play against Cornwall anyway. And she smells because she hasn't been able to shower alone because all the showers are communal, like honeycomb showers. They're not individual stalls.
There was actually a deleted scene where people were telling her she smelled in the halls, and she accidentally walks into the women's bathroom and gets caught by Principal Gold. It was a funny scene, but at the end of her meeting with him, he was like, "What does that smell?" So that part really like builds up in the deleted scenes.
So Paul comes up with a plan to get Viola to fit in with the boys, and they end up going to a restaurant where Duke and his friends are all eating. And the plan is to have Viola's best friends, Kia and Yvonne, come in and flirt with Viola and act like obsessed with her/him dressed up as Sebastian. And Channing Tatum, Duke, and his friends are just losing their shit that Sebastian is able to pick up women, like these women. I just think this is so funny because these are just Viola's best friends.
But they're like, oh, wait, okay, maybe this guy isn't so weird after all. Maybe there's something we don't know. And then Monique, the real Sebastian's girlfriend, comes to the restaurant, and one of the boys tries to hit on her, but it doesn't work. And she asks if they've seen her boyfriend, Sebastian Hastings, which then the boys are like, okay, what is going on? This is the third woman who is obsessed with Sebastian. And Viola creates diversions while trying to hide her face because Monique would immediately know that she's not Sebastian. And then Viola says, "When I close my eyes, I see you for what you truly are, which is ugly." And then she says, "We're done." And Monique runs away crying, and the boys cheer and make room for the man.
I feel like we need to know that there's an undertone of misogyny throughout this entire movie.
Absolutely.
Because Ryan had never seen this before, and he watched it with me. And throughout the movie, he just kept being like, they are just shitting on women, like the whole movie. And I think like my nostalgic love for the movie, I'm still able to laugh at it. And I do actually think it's genuinely funny, but there is that sense of like early 2000s humor where like the coach is saying that the girls can't play. And then there is this like, you know, he's the man because he treats hot girls like shit, you know? So that like is throughout. I feel like we should just like mention, we know.
I'm actually glad you said that because I did thoroughly enjoy this movie, but I was like, I don't think this would be made today at all.
No.
And I was like trying to pinpoint what my problem was with the movie, but I just love it so much that it was really hard for me to see past my nostalgia. So thank you, Brian, for, first of all, watching it for the first time with the 2024 lens.
Yeah.
That's important to note, I think.
I think simultaneously, a reason it probably rubbed you weird is because I think there is maybe not equal, but there's also like an underlying sense of homophobia the whole time, I think.
Homophobia.
It just feels funky.
There's something with gender that's funky in this movie.
That makes me feel weird, yeah. There's definitely a little bit of like, you know, her being afraid that Olivia likes her, but mostly Duke being afraid that Sebastian hugs him and stuff like that. The joke of like, there's a couple times where she hugs Duke and like her hand goes down his back and he like squirms and freaks out. The humor of that is almost giving like the predatory gay stereotype that we see in a lot of early 2000s things, which is super unfair. I think that's the underlying punchline. So I also just want to call out that like is uncomfy throughout. And I think you're right. I think there is probably a little bit more also to do with gender, like weaved throughout this, that, like for that reason it would never be made today.
Or it would just be very different.
It would be very different. Maybe the gender thing feels weird also because I am sure her dressing up as a different gender would be addressed differently today. I think it would be like discussed differently. I don't know if she like would be a trans character or something, but I just think that they would have handled it really differently if they made it today.
I think so too.
So back at school, everyone treats Viola like a god because of his new like womanizer status. And then we see that Duke finds out that Olivia is in their lab class and he freaks out. He becomes like scared little boy when he's around Olivia. So finding out that she's in the same class as them is like not okay. He's losing his mind. And then Viola and Olivia are actually assigned as lab partners. And as they're doing their lab project for the day, Viola says that dissecting freaks her out. They're dissecting a frog. And so Olivia needs to take the reins. And Olivia is so impressed by his sensitivity because most guys would never admit that. And Olivia actually finds the real Sebastian's song lyrics. Remember, he's in a band. That's why he's in London. And thinks they're really good.
And kind of falls for him a little bit more. Like, you already could tell that Olivia was falling for Viola / Sebastian, but the lyrics are really what do it for her.
Mm-hmm.
After class, Duke makes a deal with Viola that he'll make her good enough to get first string by the Cornwall game if she convinces Olivia to date him. Then there's this montage of Viola waking up at 4:30 a.m. to shower. She's practicing soccer with the boys. She's shaving. She's fitting in a little bit better now because she's got her routine figured out. And then we catch her looking at Duke in the locker room while they're all changing.
And then during practice, she gets hit in the crotch by a ball and she like doesn't move. And all the boys cringe and are just staring at her. And then she realizes what happens. And I think she's like, oh, right. And she grabs her crotch and says, oh, for the love of God, it burns.
I feel like this was one of the scenes that would always crack everyone up at the sleepover.
Yes, definitely.
And then there's this guy named Malcolm throughout this whole movie who's obsessed with Olivia. And we see him in his dorm telling his pet tarantula that he's going to dig up dirt on Sebastian so that Olivia won't date him. Then Sebastian calls Viola and checks in. This is the real Sebastian. He doesn't know that she's pretending to be him. And then while on the phone, Viola is messing with her wig because it's itching. And Principal Gold catches her. And she thinks she's been found out, but he thinks she's bald like him. And so he tells her to accept who she really is, a baldy.
And then in their lab class that day, Viola tries to put in a good word for Duke with Olivia, but Olivia says he's just not the guy for her. She also makes a comment that Viola is the only guy who hasn't hit on her. We can tell so clearly at this point, by the way, that Olivia likes Viola, aka Sebastian, but then Viola immediately says Olivia isn't her type, and then asks her to consider going out with Duke. Which, when Brian and I were watching this, we were like, this would be so clearly read today as Sebastian is gay, I think. Because for the, like, quote, hottest girl in school to be like, well, but you've never hit on me. And then for her to immediately just be like, yeah, you're not my type, would be like, Olivia, get a clue, you know?
But instead, Olivia's, like, really hurt by this. And she's like, why am I not his type? I don't get it.
Mm-hmm. Who is? What's wrong with me? The whole thing.
And then Viola gives Duke a pep talk. And he says he's not good at talking to girls. So she says, why? You're hot. And then she has to cover it up. And Viola and Duke role play so that he can practice talking to girls. And she role plays as Sebastian's sister, Viola. So her voice becomes her own voice.
This freaks him out so much.
It does. He asks if she likes cheese, which comes back later, but they're just like trying to make any conversation happen. And then Malcolm's pet tarantula crawls across their feet, and both of them freak out and jump on the bed and scream while holding each other, which again, freaks Duke out.
And then Viola gets a call from her mom on Sebastian's phone, reminding Sebastian that both he and Viola said they'd be at the carnival for the Junior League tomorrow. And Duke says, oh, I'll also be there because his mom is part of Junior League also. And Viola is just like panicking because she's like, everyone I know will be there. My sister Viola, me, Sebastian, you, Duke, Monique, my mom. And so this is a big problem. She doesn't know how she's going to pull it off.
At the carnival, Viola tries to avoid Monique, and she hides in a porta potty and takes off her disguise. And then she goes to meet her mom as herself, Viola. And then she literally runs into Duke, who asks, do I know you? And she's like, no, and she runs away. And then Justin tries to get her to talk and says it's not worth breaking up over a stupid soccer issue, and Viola calls him a jerk, which is very satisfying for us as the audience. And then she gets changed back into Sebastian in a spinny teacup sort of ride, and then Monique sees her, so she runs into a bounce house and changes back into herself again because Monique would recognize her as not Sebastian.
It's a crazy scene.
It's funny.
It is so funny, but when I was watching it, I was like, why wouldn't she just make up an excuse for Sebastian to not be there and then go do the debutante thing for her mom? That's what I would have done.
There were a ton of deleted scenes here, too. I think the carnival part was running pretty long. So I wonder if there was a little more flow to it that just got cut.
Yeah, I could see that.
I don't know.
So then Olivia is working at the kissing booth, and Duke has been waiting in line to kiss her. But then Viola comes to take her shift right as Duke is next. And so obviously he's super disappointed and pissed. But then he realizes that Viola is cute. And so they start to kiss and just end up making out. And Justin sees this, Viola's ex, and gets jealous and like comes up and gets between them in the kissing booth. And then this is when Duke realizes that Viola is Sebastian's sister, because Sebastian and him had the conversation about Justin before. And Duke and Justin end up getting in a fight in the middle of the carnival and get kicked out.
Viola comes back to the dorm dressed as Sebastian again and finds Duke with a tampon in his nose after getting beat up.
I think she comes in, she's like, oh my God. Just like shocked.
And he apologizes for kissing Viola for charity. And Viola tells him to kiss the crap out of her. And then tries to get Duke to talk about his feelings, especially his feelings about Viola. And Duke says that he thinks relationships shouldn't be just physical and that he wants to be able to talk about serious stuff. And Viola realizes that he's sensitive here and she likes him even more.
And then the next day, Duke trains Viola and the coach watches, so he knows all the work that they've been putting in. Duke tells her that he's going to ask Viola out, and she gets very excited, obviously. And the coach tells her that she's going to be first string for the Cornwall game.
Yay, finally. And then we see Olivia complaining to her friend about Sebastian not liking her, and her friend says she should try to make him jealous. So Olivia comes up to Duke and Viola in the gym and starts flirting with Duke to make Viola jealous, and he immediately forgets about asking Viola on a date. And Viola runs off and calls Duke, but he's too distracted. Like, she calls Duke as herself. And then Olivia asks Duke out on a date tonight, which ruins the plans that he had to ask out Viola. He's now completely forgotten about this.
This is funny because Olivia is doing this to make Sebastian jealous, and it's working. She thinks it's working because it is, because Sebastian, aka Viola, is jealous that Duke is going on a date with somebody else, not that Olivia is going on a date with somebody else.
Yeah.
So in Olivia's eyes, this works. So anyway, Viola tries to talk Olivia out of the date. And Olivia's like, well, why don't you just come to keep an eye on us if you want? And she tells them that they should make it a double date and that Viola should bring Eunice, who is like the nerdy girl in school. And we see at dinner, Duke and Olivia have nothing to talk about. Like before Viola shows up, they're just like, I think she's like picking at her hair and he's like staring at the wall. I think he asks if she likes cheese, which is funny. And then Viola shows up with Eunice and they're immediately relieved. Like the whole table can talk and like relax again. And Olivia starts trying to make Viola jealous. And it just ends up making Viola leave. Because I think she starts like making out with Duke and Viola's like, okay, I'm leaving. And so then Olivia immediately leaves Duke. She's like, okay, bye, Duke. And just leaves him there.
Because she was only there to make Viola jealous.
Mm-hmm.
Then Viola, as herself, shows up late to the country club for debutantes, and she angrily smacks her food while glaring at Olivia. I think this is another iconic scene. And when Olivia goes to the bathroom, Viola follows her and tells her Duke has a salivary gland condition because she kissed him at the kissing booth, so she uses that as like an excuse that she knows this about him. And Olivia admits that she actually has a huge thing for his roommate and is just trying to make him jealous, and that she feels terrible about it. And Viola convinces her to be honest with everyone.
And Viola, if I remember correctly, is surprised by this information.
Yeah.
That Olivia likes her/Sebastian. But this is so obvious. Monique comes out of the stall in the bathroom and calls Olivia a homewrecker because she overheard Olivia talking about Sebastian, who is, in Monique's mind, her boyfriend or recent ex-boyfriend. And then all three girls start fighting in this bathroom until it ends up getting broken up.
I thought this was really funny. Even though there were stunt doubles in this scene, the three of them actually did some of their own stunts here, and they loved it. They loved beating up on each other.
That's funny. So then we see Malcolm, who is the one that's been trying to get with Olivia, try to convince Principal Gold that Sebastian Hastings is actually a girl, particularly his twin sister, Viola. So he's figured it out.
And then the real Sebastian arrives to school in a taxi, and Olivia runs up to him and kisses him. And Duke sees this and he gets upset. He's like kind of further away and it's nighttime, and he leaves. And then Olivia quotes Sebastian's song lyrics to him in his ear, telling him that she'll see him at the game. And she leaves before she sees his face. And he says, I think I'm going to like this school. Because Sebastian is like, well, what just I just got out of the taxi and this girl just quoted my song to me and kissed me.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Monique gets a voicemail from Sebastian saying that they need to talk and that he's been in London for the last 2 weeks. So then Monique is like, light bulb, something's going on, because the person that broke up with me was obviously not actually Sebastian. When Viola gets back to the dorm, Duke is mad because of the kiss that he saw, which he thinks was Viola. And Viola tells him that Olivia was actually just using him, and that Viola is the one that actually likes Duke, not Olivia. Duke ends up kicking Viola out of the dorm, and then Monique comes looking for Sebastian, and Duke gives her Viola's phone. Because Duke is like, oh, Sebastian just left. Here, take his phone. But it's actually Viola's phone. And Malcolm overhears this entire thing and introduces himself to Monique, which is big uh-oh.
Yes, because the two who are on to Viola now are
together.
Together, yes. And now Viola doesn't have a place to stay because she's been kicked out of the dorm. And Eunice creepily offers her a place to sleep. It's so funny. And the real Sebastian goes to his dorm and thinks Viola set all his stuff up for him out of the kindness of her own heart. He's like, oh, thanks, Viola. And in the morning, the soccer boys all yell at Sebastian to get to the soccer game. And he's really confused because he just got here and he's like, what? Okay. And the boys pull him in to get his face painted for the game.
Then we see that Viola overslept at Eunice's place and she's late to the game. We also see that both Viola and Sebastian's parents are at the game because Principal Gold told them they needed to be there. The two of them talk and they realize that Viola hasn't been living with the other parent like they had been saying.
And then the real Sebastian is all painted up on the field and he's really confused how he got there. And Dirty Little Secret by the All-American Rejects starts playing as the game starts. It's very iconic. And Sebastian is not doing well on the field. And Viola shows up and realizes what's happened because her uniform is gone. Principal Gold, followed by Malcolm and Monique, calls a timeout. And the coach asks if there's a problem. And he says Sebastian Hastings needs to answer that for the coach. Sebastian is super confused and says, sorry, I'm not a good soccer player. And Principal Gold tells everyone that Sebastian is a girl, specifically that he is his sister Viola. And Sebastian pulls down his pants to prove he's not a girl.
Which this is, like, horrible that they do this, that the principal calls him out. Because, like, what if this was a trans student that was closeted or something, and he just calls him out in front of the entire stands and team? That's actually, like, very dangerous.
Yeah.
So then Sebastian is benched, and Viola pulls him away and tells him everything. They're, like, hiding under the bleachers. She ends up getting her uniform back from him, and then she runs out on the field as Sebastian. Viola asks the coach for one more chance, and it works. And the team starts scoring, and the game totally turns around, except for Duke won't pass the ball to Viola because he's still upset about thinking that Viola kissed Olivia. And Viola tells him that there's nothing going on between them and that she'll explain it at the end of the game. But then a fight breaks out between Duke and Justin, and then both of the teams. So this is just like a cluster of a game. Olivia also runs out to check if Viola is okay. And this is where Duke is like, you can't tell me nothing's going on if she's running out on the field to make sure you're okay. And Viola comes clean and she says, here's the truth. I love you. And then she admits to pretending to be her brother and she takes off her wig and her sideburns. This is such an iconic part. Like, I loved this part. Like, it's so satisfying to, like, see her become herself again. And then Duke is still like, I don't believe you. I think he's just, like, shocked by the whole situation. So then she flashes him and I guess everyone to, like, prove it.
Why is this a 2000s trope, by the way?
What? Flashing boobs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's such a thing, like 10 Things I Hate About You.
That's true.
Maybe it's just the writers. Because it's the same writers for both movies.
Yeah, maybe. They're like, this will get her out of the situation. This will really punch the scene up.
They were like, this scene killed in 10 Things I Hate About You. Let's bring it back. And to be honest, at the time, like, I think nowadays it would just be like a whatever scene. But at the time, I remember this being like the funniest thing to everyone.
Oh, for sure. Viola asks the coach if she can finish the game. And Duke says, yeah, they need to let her play. And the coach is totally on board with this, which I love. I love that the Illyria coach doesn't care that she's a girl, because we see the Cornwall coach freak out because he's the one that told Viola that she can't play. And the Cornwall coach comes up with the ref and is like, this is against the rules. You can't let her play. And the Illyria coach just like grabs the manual from the ref. He's much bigger, by the way, and rips it up and is like, what manual? And then tells the Cornwall coach that they don't discriminate against gender, which I love that.
Yeah, we love that. So then they play the second half of the game and Viola gets the penalty kick. And Justin, who is the goalie on the opposite team, taunts her. And she scores a goal on him and she wins the game. And she ends up making Justin cry. And it's just very satisfying. because he sucks. Then her parents and Sebastian congratulate her after the game, and her mom finally understands why she loves soccer. And also the parents sound like they're going to start dating again, like some spark happened between them, which is kind of funny.
I know.
And then Viola officially introduces Sebastian and Olivia.
So after all the celebrating, Viola looks across the field at Duke, and Duke is still like shaking his head. You can tell he's upset about just the whole thing from her lying to him. But then back at their dorm, Sebastian drops off a present for Duke, and it's a Gouda cheese wheel and an invitation to the debutante ball from Viola.
I love it.
So then Viola helps Olivia get ready for the ball because they can be like real friends now. She's not pretending to be a boy. And Viola ends up leaving because she knows that Duke won't show up because she knows he's still upset. But then outside, she sees him coming and asks him to say something. But it turns out it's just the groundskeeper who's turning on the sprinklers. But as she turns around to leave, she sees Duke is actually behind her and he's wearing a suit. And he says a few days ago he kissed this girl at a kissing booth and he can't stop thinking about it. Plus, he liked his roommate. And she apologizes for not telling him who she really was. And Duke says that they probably wouldn't have had the conversations that they had if he knew that she was a girl.
Then at the ball, we see Monique is escorted by Justin, who are a good evil matchup. Olivia is escorted by Sebastian. And then they call Viola's name multiple times. And Viola is supposed to be escorted by Paul, her hairstylist. Then Viola shows up late and she's with Duke. He's going to escort her. They kiss on stage and then he does escort her. And it's very cute. But there was a really, really cute deleted scene that I'm so mad got cut, where Sebastian and his band actually play at the ball. He dedicates his song to Viola and his mom. And then Viola and Duke dance and they kiss. There's a recording of Amanda rewatching the scene. And she was like, oh, it was so cute. I'm so sad it got cut.
Aww. I wonder why they cut it. That would have been a really cute ending.
I feel like timings for movies were so much stricter back in the day, and I think they just like felt like everything was just drawn out too much, like the ball was just too long. So they got rid of it, but I like that. It was cute.
And then we see them play soccer together, and Duke lifts her into the air and Move Along by the All-American Rejects plays, and that's the end.
Yay.
So cute.
Such a good rewatch.
I know.
I'm glad Brian liked it too. Did he like it overall?
Me too. Yeah, he liked it. He has played soccer for his whole life, so I was surprised he had never seen it. So I think just the concept of it being a, quote, soccer movie, like, drew him in. He liked it, though.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, it was a good rewatch. Thank you guys for recommending it.
Yeah, great recommend. You guys can always send us more recommendations on Instagram at What We're Watching Pod. Every time you guys send us a movie recommendation, we write it down so that the next time we're looking for new ideas, we can pull things that you guys like.
And we really appreciate you guys reaching out. If you enjoyed the episode, please consider leaving us a 5-star rating and review. It really helps us out. It helps the pod out.
And thank you guys for listening. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.